Hello, guys. We're back with yet another episode. The episode that's about to come up on your screen is episode 99. In today's episode, it's everything self talk, everything inner dialogue. As you'll hear very shortly, it's been a topic I wanted to talk about for a while, and it's off the back end of a big year, reviewing a big year. A lot went well. Experienced a lot of challenges, a lot of highs, lows, everything in between. And one of the biggest things I found that had the biggest positive impact and actually had some of the biggest negative impacts on me was my inner dialogue. So that's today's episode. I hope you're excited, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hello, guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Will and Friends podcast. We are here with episode 99, one episode from the 100. Today's an important one. I'm currently sitting down in my parents' household down in Adelaide. I've just done a bunch of reviewing, looking back at the year, reminiscing on all the good times. Obviously, hanging out with family down here in Adelaide's been great fun. But yeah, big focus of mine has been really looking at the year of 2024 and what were the big takeaways. I turned 22 this year. A lot has happened. I opened a company. I had a lot of different challenges and a lot of cool different opportunities that came up from that. And sitting back, I kind of asked myself a big question. I found the back portion of the year, my physical health wasn't at its best. I was getting sick a little bit more than I'd like to. Not everything seemed to be connecting the way I wanted it to. And yeah, it meant that my brain, the way I talked to myself, it probably wasn't the best it could have been. I'll be pretty honest with that. As I say, my inner dialogue probably wasn't that strong. It wasn't that positive. It wasn't that uplifting. Um, and looking back on the year and the periods that I'd done really well, or looking at the people around me, whether it be in my industry in sales and marketing, in business in general, or sport, across the board, whatever you want to talk about, the biggest and the best, the ones that are able to achieve what they want, they're normally the ones that are in control of their inner dialogue. They're normally the ones that can actually make the most of it. And that's the theme of this podcast. Are you in control of your inner dialogue? Are you in control? Because I won't lie, there were some points this year that I definitely felt like I was in control and I was calling the shots. But if I'm being honest, there were definitely periods this year as well that I did not feel that way. I felt like I was being controlled. And if you're anyone that wants to go open up a company or run your own business, normally a big reason you do that is because you want control. Okay. So the big question I was trying to ask myself is what's the difference? Why at times was I in control versus other times where I wasn't? Because I think we can both agree, for myself and those that are listening, you want to be in control of your inner dialogue. A lot happens from it. Now, I did a bunch of research trying to pinpoint what may have been happening, what actually was causing me to lose control, as you can say it. Now, there was one key theory that came up. It's called the cognitive behavioral theory, CBT. And I've had a great read into this, and I found it very interesting. Now, I've talked a little bit about hints of this in previous episodes, but it's all just from me witnessing it within my company. No real science backing to it, just seeing it happen and commenting on it. Now, this is an actual theory. This is something that someone has put a good bit of research into, and there's a lot to back it up. Essentially, it's a framework that explains how thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are actually all interconnected. Okay. It talks about the idea that our thoughts, as they call it, cognitions, influence our emotions and behaviors. And changing negative thought patterns can lead to improvements in mental well being and behavior. Okay. All that's really saying is what we think can affect how we feel and how we behave. Nothing too crazy, but there's a couple of different core principles that really stood out to me that describes CBT, cognition behavioral theory. Okay. Number one is the idea that thoughts drive the emotions and behaviors. Okay. Essentially, the way we interpret events determines how we feel or act. Nothing to do with the actual event themselves. I'll repeat that. The way we interpret events determines how we feel or act, not the actual event itself. The example, two people facing the same challenge, one person can see that as an opportunity and they feel motivated by it, while the other sees that challenge as a threat and they might feel anxious. Okay? Two very different ways to perceive the exact same thing. But the whole point is our thoughts are the things that determine how we feel and act, nothing to do with the actual event itself. Okay? Number two, in terms of core principles of CBT, it's the idea of cognitive distortions. Okay? What it talks about is the idea that people often develop habitual, irrational thought patterns, as they call it, cognitive distortions, that lead to negative emotions and behaviors. Okay? These common distortions that move away from reality are things like all or nothing thinking, viewing situations in extremes. For example, if I fail, I'm worthless. Well, I can either win or I can't. Okay, today's either going to be a big win or it's going to be nothing. Okay, if I don't do this, this will happen. All of these things are all or nothing thinking. And pretty much the funny thing is, most things in life are not yes or no. There's very rarely things in life that are yes or no. So leaning into that certainly doesn't help. Another one is catastrophizing. Okay, that's a common distortion. Basically expecting the worst. Okay, looking at all different outcomes that could happen from the worst all the way to the best, and then only thinking about the worst. Okay, now I think me saying it loud, I think most people would agree with me that thinking the worst possible outcome a lot of the time is probably not going to help your inner dialogue. Okay, but it's a very common thing that I think we can all agree has happened to us is we catastrophize and we think about what is the worst case scenario and we just keep that playing on in our mind. Okay, and another one, the last one, is probably overgeneralization. Basically applying single events to all aspects on life. Okay, the common one is I failed today. That means I am a failure. Okay, I failed this morning. That means I cannot succeed. These sort of thinkings are really going to hurt you. And it is all what CBT is about. And these are the main cognitive distortions. Okay. The third one is another one which is massive, is the role of automatic thoughts. Okay. Basically what they are, to keep it simple, is automatic thoughts are the immediate unfiltered thoughts that arise in response to a situation. Essentially, they're mainly subconscious. Okay. And these thoughts, the issue is they don't always have your best interest at heart. A lot of the times these thoughts are biased or they're negative and they influence your feelings and your actions in a way that you cannot control, which makes it very, very difficult. Okay. I think that we can all agree there's been times where we react without thinking. That's what these automatic thoughts are. Okay. We have this feeling without even having a moment to think about it. These are all automatic thoughts, which our brains do generally to keep us safe. Okay. Go back in the day, caveman days, they definitely were there to keep us safe. But these days, we probably don't need them all the time. Okay. And that's where the bias or the negative that can come from it really can hurt you. Okay. And then the fourth one, in terms of core principles with CBT, it's the idea of behavioral responses. Okay. Your behaviors are shaped by thoughts and reinforced over time through patterns. Okay. A big one that I see a lot is just avoidance behaviors. Okay. For example, An avoidance behavior may reinforce anxiety by reducing short-term stress, but prevents long-term growth. Okay? As in putting off something now because it is a little bit of stress, a little bit of difficulty out of your comfort zone, to get away from that short-term anxiety, but it really just prevents you from any long-term growth, and it just keeps you in a negative cycle. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about all these things is because the cognitive behavioral theory, it's got a really important idea that it sticks to. It's called the cognitive triangle. Okay, CBT is often illustrated using a triangle, and this triangle has 3 different points: thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Okay, we go to thoughts. Thoughts, what we think influences how we feel and act. That's the idea. What we think influences how we feel and act. Okay, if we go to emotions, our feelings are shaped by our thoughts and behaviors. And then we go to behaviors. How we act reinforces our thoughts and feelings. Okay, the whole point is it is all interconnected. Your thoughts are affected by your emotions and behaviors. Your emotions are affected by your thoughts and behaviors. And your behaviors are reinforced by those thoughts and emotions. Okay, so the whole point of this is that changing one point in this triangle can positively influence the other 2, which is really exciting. And it can create such a cool positive feedback loop for you. And you can change the way you act with your inner dialogue very quickly. The issue is when these things are all interconnected, what often happens is it doesn't go to a positive loop. It actually goes to the opposite, a negative loop. And the whole point is they are all connected. So if you're thinking negative, that means your emotions and your behaviors are going to be more negative. If your emotions are negative, that's just going to affect your thoughts and behaviors in a worse way. It's the same with behaviors. So understanding how important this triangle is of connecting your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, it is the key theme that comes with CBT, and it is the whole idea of this podcast, is to understand the connection between these 3 and how you can enhance them to make the most. Okay? And that's the goal of this episode today. I'm going to be providing the 8 most important mindset shifts that I've personally either experienced or am focusing on going into the new year in order to optimize my inner dialogue, okay? And really just take control of the cognitive triangle. Because if I'm being honest, based off periods in 2024, when I was at my best, compared to periods in 2024, well, I don't think I was in control of my inner dialogue, it was a huge difference. You can literally see the difference in my business, in my relationships, in the way I took care of my health. Everything is connected there, okay? So really understanding these 8 mindset shifts is going to be playing such a big role in you enhancing the cognitive triangle and really just taking back control of your inner dialogue. Pretty simple. Cool? Let's get into it. Number 1, the real important mindset shift is to understand that your mind believes what you tell it. I'll repeat that. Your mind believes what you tell it. A funny one I always use with my guys in the field is at work is that funny, you can tell yourself out loud, I can fly, I can fly, I can fly 1,000 times. Now, by the end of it, you're not going to be able to fly, but you're still going to be a little bit closer to believing you can actually fly. And the whole point is understanding that your mind believes what you tell it. So the big one that I like to kind of sit myself in is this sort of frame, is speak to yourself as you would to a close friend. Okay? Your brain absorbs your self-talk and shapes your beliefs and actions. So the big thing for me is if I'm talking to a close friend, I just have their best interests at heart. There's no preconceived negative feelings. There's no insecurities. It's just I have their best interests at heart. And that keeps me in the right frame of mind to talk to myself the right way. Okay. So the number one mindset shift is this. Just understand that your mind believes what you tell it. So speak to yourself as you would to a close friend. That's number one. Two, another important thing to understand is that positive self-talk boosts confidence. Affirmations are the shit. Okay. I'm someone that came from a very logical background that didn't believe most of these things and just went, okay, I don't care how I think, feel, how I talk, let's just go do it. And that's an important one to have. You need to have both sides of it. But making the most of affirmations, like as simple as I am capable, I can handle this challenge, I am good enough, I believe in myself. Simply replacing doubt with encouragement, it just builds so much resilience and allows you to push through so much more at such a high level. Okay. Now, when it comes to sales, even when it comes to running a business, meeting a new friend, okay, building that relationship that you want to build, okay, leveling up your health goals, most of these things require confidence or self-belief. You need to back yourself in to go take that on. And understanding how key of a role positive self-talk plays in that, it's phenomenal. Okay, so please use the affirmations. They are phenomenal. They are so good for you. Okay, that's number two. Positive self-talk boosts confidence. Cool. Number three, the opposite. Negative self-talk limits growth. Okay. Now, what you need to understand when we talk about negative self-talk, it's putting you in very, I kind of use the term yes or no mindset. Okay. As in, if you make a mistake, just seeing that as, oh, I did something wrong, rather than being something that can propel you forward. Yes, you may have made a mistake. Yes, you may have done something that people talk about pushes them away from the goals. I talk about falling forward. That's the way I look at it. Is yes, something can happen that is a challenge. You may have made a mistake. Yes, perfect. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should be negative to yourself. Okay. Instead of using ideas like I always fail, try I made a mistake and I'm learning from this and improving. Because the whole point is making failures is the most important thing for success. I get everyone talking about, I think it's James Dyson. I might get his first name wrong, but I know his last name's Dyson. Everybody knows his last name. He's the one that made the vacuum. I think people talk about is his 5001. That was his attempt. It took him 5001 attempts to make the vacuum. Now, the whole point is, to me, I look at most people around me. How many attempts would they really make? 10, 20, 100, 1,000? All I know is there is not many people out there in the world that would have gone to 5,000 attempts and attempted one more. But that's what Dyson did. And that's why he's been able to build such a fantastic life for himself. Not because he made the Dyson vacuum, but if I'm being honest, I think it's just because of the mindset he had. It's phenomenal. Okay. So the big one for me is just looking at mistakes, looking at these moments of challenge. These are all opportunities for growth if you allow it. Okay. But if you always nip it at the butt and just go, sweet, that was a fail. Let's move on. I didn't do well there. Let's move on. You're not going to grow because it is within those failures. It is within those challenges, those mistakes in which you grow. So please don't put you down with a bunch of negative self-talk when you make a mistake, because that is going to be the reason that you do not grow. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4, self-talk influences stress management. Okay, this is so essential. Your ability to manage stress through self-talk will have a direct impact on how quickly you're able to grow and advance. Okay? stress, challenges, pressure. This is all essential for growth. So being able to lean into that stress is very important. And self-talk is the thing that allows you to stay at your best through all that stress. If you can build yourself up through positive self-talk, if you can remind yourself of all the wins you've had, if you can be grateful for the opportunity you've got, if you can tick off all those things whilst you're going through those stresses, it makes it so much easier for you to stay at your best and actually keep progressing. Whereas if you don't lean into that self-talk and replace things like, this is too hard, like a mindset like that, this is too hard, with ideas of, I'll take it one step at a time. So as simple as that. Replacing this is too hard with, I'll take it one step at a time. Even just doing that through those tough moments, it provides a little bit of calm, just a tiny bit. And that's the thing that allows you to keep going. Okay, it's not about being perfect at all, but really understanding the connection with stress, being a positive thing. You want stress. And how to be able to keep yourself at your best through those stresses, it is through self-talk. Okay, that's an important one. Number 4. Number 5, I alluded to it a little bit there, but it's a reason I've got it tattooed on me. Gratitude. It is so good for you. Okay, if you are wanting to take control of your inner dialogue, please practice gratitude. Gratitude enhances positivity. It is the thing. Okay, what I always suggest everyone does is start and end each day by acknowledging just 3 things that you're grateful for. Okay, this shifts the focuses to what you do have instead of what you don't have. Okay, it is as simple as scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, whatever you want, to see how they get us. These social platforms understand that our brains want to look at what we don't have more than what we do have. Okay, it's how we work. So that's what they play on. They showcase all these things that we quote unquote don't have. The cars, the lifestyle, the beauty, the fame, all of those things. And it hooks us in. Okay, so the most important thing that you need to do to reverse that or switch the focus is just practice gratitude. Be grateful for what you do have. And trust me, you will take back control of your inner dialogue very quickly. It's a massive one. Okay, if it's not something you've practiced before, just start getting into it slowly. Don't overwhelm yourself, but it is so great for you. Okay, number 5, gratitude enhances positivity. Get it done. Okay, number 6, this is a really huge one. Your language shapes your identity. Okay, so making sure that on top of the affirmations I talked about before, utilizing ones that are identity based is really, really powerful. Okay, instead of going and saying stuff like, I'll try my best, saying I'm the kind of person who perseveres and will do my best. I'm the kind of person that does show gratitude. I'm the kind of person that does put others before me. I'm the kind of person that does push through stressful situations and comes out on top. It's such a small difference, but it works in sales and it works with yourself. Okay? Once you can attach these affirmations to your identity, it makes it so much easier for you to win. Because what people do is they attach negative affirmations to their identity. I always say I'm not good at swimming. I'm not the worst swimmer in the world. I can stay afloat, but I joke about it and say I'm not good at swimming. Okay? The amount of people I've seen say I'm not good at maths. Okay? Or I can't run. Okay? I see new people come into sales expecting to get really good at sales in 2 days. They just chuck out, I can't do sales. You've been doing it for 2 days. I don't know yet, but you can't know either. You've been doing it for 2 days. That's not long enough. Okay? The point is, a lot of people have negative based affirmations that are attacking their identity. Okay, stray away from them as much as you can and push yourself towards the positive ones as quick as possible. Because if you're someone that can just go around the room saying, I'm the kind of person that walks up to someone and says g'day, little things like that, it will all compound and it will just push you to become the best version of yourself and take back control of your inner dialogue. It's simple as that. Understand that your language shapes your identity, which is massive. Okay. Number 7, getting to the end. Visualizing success increases your self-confidence. I'll repeat that. Visualizing success increases your self-confidence. Okay. Your goal is to combine positive self-talk with visualization. Okay. Picture yourself succeeding and narrate that process positively. Okay. Because if you're able to successfully visualize, it will make you feel like you've already achieved it. Now, if you're someone that feels like you've already achieved it, do you not think that's going to have an impact on your confidence to achieve it? 100%. You've already done it before. If you've done sales before, we all know when you smash that new PB, you're like, sweet, that's what I can do. I can go do that again. I can go make that happen. And the whole thing is leaning it to the other way. You want to put yourself in a position where you're visualizing that success so much that you believe it, and that's the reason you see it. Whereas most people need to see it first, then they can believe it. You see it, but it's in your head. You've visualized it. So you've visualized that first, and you've believed it first, and that'll be the reason it does happen. Okay? This is the quote for around Christmas time. If you don't believe, you won't receive. So please, visualize that success and it will increase your self-confidence. Massive. Okay? Then 8, lucky 8, the last one, really simple. Consistency is the key. Okay? It's the boring tip. It's a tip everyone gives, but it is the one. Okay? I suggest finding an accountability partner to help you with this because it is the most important. You need to practice this positive self-talk daily, even when it feels unnatural. Trust me, when I first started doing it, I felt really weird. It was definitely not my natural. Okay. My source of motivation for myself when I was new was if you didn't ring the bell, you lost your job. And that's what I did day after day. Okay. It got me through it, right? But it wasn't the thing that was going to get me to the position I am in today. And it's definitely not going to be the thing that gets me the successes I'm looking for in the future. Okay. What will, though, is consistent self-talk in a positive manner. Okay. Over time, you do this consistently, it will become your default mindset. Okay. Your cognitive triangle, it will all compound in the right direction and it will have a massive impact on you. Okay. And that's it. Okay. They are the 8 mindset shifts and tips I would give to anyone, including myself. If I'm being honest, I'm going to be focusing on a good few of these coming in the new year. I'll for sure give some people some progress on how I'm going it with personally, and I'd love to hear how you guys are going on with it. That's the wording. But my call to action is pretty simple, guys. What I encourage you to do is this. Take 5 minutes each day. That's all it is. 5 minutes each day to observe your inner dialogue. Okay? And here's the challenge. I want you to write down one negative thought and reframe it into a positive one. Okay? I want you to do this 1 time per day for a week. Okay? All you got to do is 7 times. Okay? Write down one negative thought and reframe it into a positive one. Do this once each day for a week. And send me the evidence, whether it be on Instagram, Telegram. Show me that you're doing this and watch it change your life. Believe it. Okay. Now, if this is stuff that interests you and you do find value from, what I highly suggest you do is check out episode 91 with Cooper Chapman. Okay. He runs his own company that is based around mental health and well-being. And yeah, I would definitely check out some of his content if I were you. He is an expert in this space. If I'm being honest, I've certainly just been listening to a bunch of his content, and it's helped me help you guys based off this episode. Okay. Now, the final thing to remember is pretty simple, guys. Your inner dialogue is one of the most significant factors in your personal growth and your success. Okay. Please remember that. The voice you listen to most is going to be your own. Please make sure it's one that uplifts and inspires you, because your cognitive triangle will go in the exact right direction if you do. If not, it'll make it a lot harder for you. Okay, so make sure it's one that uplifts and inspires you. And that's all I got for you guys. We'll leave it at that.